Oh, hello, it is I, your boy Gomi, and we are here with Bellator, actually. I've covered a bit of Bellator in the past, and I will continue covering in the future, but only more so when it's something a little bit hype, something I'm really excited for. And if y'all know me, I've talked about in the past, I'm a pretty big Yoel Romero fan. And I actually have seen Nemkov fight quite a bit too. I'm a good fan of him. Sergio Pettis, not a big fan of. I like the Pitbull brothers. But yes, this is actually a pretty exciting Bellator card. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's far better than the UFC card going on. It's better than any UFC card for the month of June, which is it's bad on the UFC's part. This card actually has some pretty sneaky good fights. So we're actually going to be breaking down a little bit and seeing what fights are on here. What do we care about? So unfortunately, I'm not off the official Bellator website because I am not a fan of their website. But yep. There's a few decent fights on here, for example. There's a lot of people who y'all probably not have known of, but Timur, pretty good on the regional scene, pretty decent. But then again, we know the Russian regional scene has a lot of cans that they like to have them crush, but he's pretty good. Emmanuel Sanchez, he's pretty solid. He actually fought against Patricio Pitbull as well, too, twice, I believe. He's a solid fighter at 155. We're going to have Shamil Nemkov, who's also decent. Good luck trying to find a fight of his. Bobby Nash is a fun fighter. He's a fun 170er. And then really it's just going to be the main four fights that are, wow, these are really good. These are big names. You probably not even big names. These are people who you know who they are. Daniel James, the Chicago guy, very loyal to that city as well too. He's pretty exciting being in his hometown. You can tell he's really good put on a show. I will be honest with you. Gokam Sarikam, I literally just watched his last fight only recently, as in I just literally looked it up and watched it, tried to find his other fights. Not much on him, but from what I've seen, he seems solid. Now, Phil Davis and Corey Anderson, you know those guys, used to be in the UFC. Both were solid in UFC, but they're very old, but that makes them very good for Bellator terms. Corey Anderson's always had a pretty big right hand, pretty strong guy. Phil Davis as well has always been pretty boring. Really leaned heavily on his wrestling, but he is very solid in his wrestling. He actually beat Yoel Romero in his Bellator debut in a very uneventful fight where Yoel Romero thought the fight was only 3 rounds, but we won't talk about that. But Phil Davis and Corey Anderson has always put on a show. And let's get into the co-main event. The co-main event, which I did do a little bit of a graphic on. Sergio Pettis versus Patricio Pitbull. Patricio Pitbull trying to make history, being the first ever triple division champion in MMA promotion. Because as you know, Patricio Pitbull, he was the lightweight champion, actually beating Michael Chandler. Yes, he was lightweight champion, featherweight champion, also beating one of the best fighters from Yoel Romero, UFC caliber fighter, AJ McKee. I always say McKee. And now he's trying to become a third champion by going down. Something very interesting. Most fighters usually go up. Patricio's been going down, which is entertaining. And Sergio Pettis, you probably know him vaguely. He used to be UFC as well too. He actually has some pretty big UFC names on there as well too in his win column, but also a lot in his loss column. But yes, this is going to be a bantamweight title fight. Sergio Pettis, the current reigning champion, is going to be 29 years of age, 22 wins, 5 losses, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions. Blech. That's low. 5'6" in terms of height, orthodox stance, 6'9" reach advantage. I don't have, unfortunately, the statistics of his takedown accuracy and significant strike accuracy. All I can say is from the fights I've watched of him, which I've watched a good bit of his fights. Being a plus 150 underdog, which actually surprised me a little bit. He has significant wins over Kyoji Horiguchi, Tyson Mann, Joseph Benavidez, and Brandon Moreno. Some things I'm going to poke a little bit of holes into is his fights against Brandon Moreno and Joseph Benavidez were quite some time ago. I will be 100% honest with you. Those fights, they were not recent. They're not recent fights. But at the very least, the Moreno fight was definitely Moreno well before he was in his prime. But the Joseph Benavidez fight, that was at Benavidez' prime. So that's one thing to mention. That was when Benavidez was pretty damn good. He is going to be facing the former, I believe he's not holding the featherweight belt, is he? did he? I believe he might have relinquished it. Whatever the case is, he should still have, because I know his last fight was at Bellator versus Ryzen, and he was of course not defending the belt there. But I don't think he lost the belt. I'm pretty sure he's still the current champion, if I remember correctly. Either that or he resigned the belt. Of course, he's not the lightweight champion anymore. But yes, Patricio Pitbull, he's going to be 35 years of age, 35 wins, 5 losses, 12 knockouts, 11 submissions. That's what you like to see. 5'6" in terms of height, orthodox stance, 66.5-inch reach, disadvantage. I don't have the data on his takedowns or his significant strike accuracy. I can tell you right now, he'd probably be pretty high in takedowns and have pretty solid significant strike accuracy. He's not primarily a wrestler. He's more of a club and sub kind of guy, but he definitely will lean on the wrestling and use it when need be. Definitely more so than Sergio Pettis. Significant over Adam Borks, AJ McKee, and Michael Chandler. Yes, I will be honest with you, there's a lot of wins on his list. I could have put Emmanuel Sanchez, who's fighting on this card. I could have put him on there, but as you see how low Bill in the card is, that's not a huge oh my god whatever. But yes, this fight should be a fun fight, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not going to break it down super detailed in depth, but just what we're going to be seeing. Sergio Pettis, from what we've seen in his fights, he's a kind of hybrid fighter. He does a lot of mix up with the takedowns. I like his takedowns. I like his striking. It's basic, but it's efficient. I don't think he's going to be able to win this fight, though, to be honest with you, against Patricio Pitbull. Patricio Pitbull is older. He's getting up there in MMA years. Yes. But he's much more of a finisher. Sergio Pettis, that's the problem with him, is he is not a finisher. He is the kind of guy who will hold you down and deal some damage to you. He'll hold you down. He'll pick at you from range, lots of good jabs and solid shots, but he doesn't have a lot of finish. Yes, he had a really good spinning back fist against Kyoji Horiguchi, but beyond that, I can't remember his last finish, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it was in the last couple years. I think it was a submission. But other than that, like, I'm just looking at his UFC. His Bellator time. Because in UFC, I believe he went out on some pretty bad losses. Because I know he lost to Henry Cejudo, Rob Font. I believe there was someone else as well, too. But yes, he did have some losses on his record. He's still good. I still think he's UFC caliber. I don't think he was bad enough to get cut, to be perfectly honest with you. Would I think he'd be a ranked bantamweight? Probably bottom ranked. But I didn't think he'd be that bad. Patricio Pitbull, I think, would also be a bottom ranked bantamweight. Well, we haven't seen him at bantamweight. He'd be a bottom ranked featherweight more than likely, for sure. I do think Patricio Pitbull is pretty strong, pretty good. What are his key avenues to winning? He has a lot more avenues for winning this fight, to be perfectly honest with you, mainly because he can lean on that submission skills. Like I said, he's more of a club and sub guy rather than get you down and take you out, but he's got that club and sub ability. That's very good on his part, and he's got power. He's He's able to take out Michael Chandler, and that was honestly a prime Michael Chandler, to be perfectly honest with you, which is very surprising. He does some good damage. Yeah, that's really most of what I have on that, honestly. Patricio Pitbull, I just think he does more damage than Sergio Pettis. There's not a lot to break down on it. Pettis is basic in all his maneuvers and abilities, while Patricio Pitbull, while not super ultra mega dynamic due to a lot of his age, he's solid. He's very good in his skills. It's going to be very hard for Sergio Pettis to get finished. Like, yeah, he lost to his only recent loss for a while has been from AJ McKee, which was a guillotine in round 2 or 1, first or second round. Beyond that, I can't remember his last loss, but I think it was like the Benson Henderson or something like that. Let me look it up. Yeah, Benson Henderson. That's a lot of wins. That's a lot of wins at his part. Hold on, let me show this. But that's an impressive resume that he has right there. And that's why he's such a betting favorite. So I'm going to lean towards Patricio Pitbull. I don't know if he'll finish Sergio Pettis, because Sergio Pettis is pretty tough. But if he does beat him, I'm going to lean towards submission. I think he would submit Sergio Pettis, to be honest with you, if he is going to win. And other than that, though, I think it's going to be decision, because Pettis is pretty tough. I don't think Patricio is going to get out there. My official prediction is going to be decision, but who knows. Next, for the main event, The fight that I'm truly excited for is going to be for the light heavyweight title, Vadim Nemkov versus Yoel Soldier of God Romero. I've always been a big fan of Yoel Romero, and Vadim Nemkov is pretty good. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's a high chance he'll probably win this fight, because Vadim Nemkov honestly is a very solid fighter. He is definitely UFC caliber. 100%. I could absolutely see him. Honestly, especially the way the light heavyweight vision is going. I honestly see I could honestly see him being probably top 5. Yeah, that might be surprising. He's basic but super fundamentally sound. I do like his right high kick though. I do greatly enjoy his right high kick, but for the most part he really just strikes at you from a distance. He will get up close and he'll box it out with you. He's really basic, like I said, in all of his abilities. He can submit you or he can do damage. His primarily thing is knockouts, and he's not a point fighter, which is very nice. I know he had a point fight decision against Corey Anderson at 288, which was a very uneventful fight, but for the most part, he's pretty strong. One thing I will say, I forgot to break down the tail of the tape. Forgive me, light tail of tape, but Vadim Nemkov, he's going to be light heavyweight champion, 30 years of age, 16 wins, 2 losses, 10 knockouts, 3 submissions, 5'10" in terms of height, orthodox stance. Is he really 5? He's not 5'10". He's 6 foot. Forgive that. In fact, forgive both their heights are off. Oh my god. He's going to be sick. Both men are going to be 6 foot in terms of height. Orthodox stance, 76-inch reach, advantage, a -350 favorite. Significant wins over Corey Anderson, Julius Anglicus, Phil Davis 2, and Ryan Bader. Solid wins. For Bellator specifically, Corey Anderson, Phil Davis, and Ryan Bader, UFC caliber fighters. We know this because they're in the UFC, but those are very solid wins. Yoel Romero, going to be 46 years of age and still fighting for titles. 15 wins, 6 losses, 12 knockouts, 3 submissions. 10 knockouts, 3 submissions. Man, what is wrong with this graph? I must have saved an old version. Forgive me. In fact, light heavyweight spelled. This is my old version of the graph. That's a shame. I am so sorry for that. But yes, he's going to be 6 foot in terms of height. Southpaw stance. That's correct. 73.5-inch reach disadvantage. A +240 underdog with significant wins over Melvin Manoef. Broke his jaw, by the way. Luke Rockhold broke his jaw, by the way. Yeah, actually break Luke Rockhold's jaw, but basically might have. Chris Weidman cracked his skull, by the way. And Lyoto Machida. Back to Vadim Nemkov. He's very solid in all his strikes. I really like his striking. It's so fundamentally sound that I could see it giving a big trouble to someone like Yoel Romero. He's also very big for the weight class, and I could see him stuffing takedowns or even landing takedowns of himself and laying heavy on the top. I think he'll mainly be standing a fair, but I could see him just easily outworking Romero, because that's the thing with Romero's last fights, honestly. Like, for as good and as strong as he is, how did his last losses go? Phil Davis, he just simply got outworked. That's it. Israel Adesanya, outworked. Paulo Costa, outworked. Robert Whittaker, outworked. It's really like, we need 3rd round Romero if you really want to see Vadim Nemkov get flatline KO'd, but I could see Vadim outworking him, and then when Yoel explodes, his defense will be sound enough. By all means, there's a chance that Yoel Romero can just catch some, club him, hurt him, because that's the thing too. Like I said, Vadim Nemkov I think could be top 5 light heavyweight material. I definitely think he's a very good fighter, but he's not faced the level of competition Yoel Romero has, because again, Yoel Romero has faced Israel Adesanya, Paulo Costa, Robert Whittaker, Luke Rockhold, Chris Weidman, Ronaldo Souza, Lyoto Machida, Tim Kenny, Brad Tavares, Derek Brunson. He's fought way better competition than Nemkov has ever fought. Corey Anderson, Ryan Bader, and Phil Davis. Ryan Bader's probably the best person that Vadim Nemkov has fought. And Yoel Romero fought way better guys than anyone better than Brian Bader by far. So he has more experience, but also those people I just mentioned were all at middleweights. All at middleweight and middleweights. Only Luke Rockhold was like... Luke Rockhold did fight a light heavyweight, but that was not very good. So ultimately, I think I'm going to lean towards Nemkov, but I'm not going to have it as wide as it is. I do give Yoel Romero more of a chance, but be practically frank with you, I am rooting for Yoel Romero. His only key avenue is going to be knockout. He does not really go for submissions, and he doesn't really utilize his Olympic level wrestling anymore. But third round Romero can absolutely do something explosive. A crazy uppercut, an insane flying knee, something. He can damage him. But I feel it'll probably go how the Paulo Costa or first Whitaker fight goes, and he just gets outworked for 5 rounds. But I'm rooting for Yoel Romero. I think it'll be a very exciting fight. I will be watching it, so no stream that day. I will be watching. I will be enjoying it far more than the UFC event. But I will still be doing a video on that. This has been your boy Gomi. Let me know what you think in the comment sections below. Bye-bye.